Hello folks, and welcome to another video of mine, and this one is going to be simply about, well, me playing with my XP pen. So right now I'm just doing is kind of like the outline of a basic character. You're probably wondering what character I'm drawing. Nothing in particular. So for me, this is actually the first time I'm actually really using it, and I actually got was a little adapter to allow me to connect my XP Pen Artist 12 to my particular computer, which happens to be a ThinkPad X220 by Lenovo. I don't have is an HDMI cable or input really, but I have is a display port. So I had to have is a little adapter that connects from HDMI to display. Yeah, when you're really drawing something like this, you're not really supposed to do like the hair right off the bat, but some people do. Sometimes I draw is just the hair of the character, but this one I just really had no idea what I was drawing, but I just had was kind of an inkling. Okay, a character, female of course, so I have her head tilted a little in the back at an angle. And this is not really, anything really important, so it's like kind of really rough, and it's not really the greatest drawing that I would consider for myself. But for some people, this is actually quite good. For me, I'm happen to be using is my pencil tool, and I'm trying to do is just get a feeling for this tablet. Now, since I do have the little adapter, I'm actually not really looking at the screen on my laptop, but actually the screen on my tablet, and it looks actually quite nice. I notice every so often that the screen on my laptop kept on blinking in and out, but I don't know if the recording is going to show it up like this. Plus, when I was coloring, you'll probably see it here. And this will probably be my first time of actually seeing this video after I recorded it, doing this voiceover. That the coloring might not actually be the colors that I first thought they would be. Yeah, I'm just drawing her nose, and I know it just didn't feel right at first, because for me, I'm used to actually having a different size pencil than what the pen is. The pen actually feels comfortable, believe it or not. It gets some used to, when you're trying out like a digital tablets and stuff. I would say that this happens to be one of the better tablets that I've used, because it does have some monitor. I'm not saying that XP makes the best tablets in the world compared to, let's say, Wacom. But for me personally, my Wacom tablet was kind of hard to use because it wasn't a monitor one. It was one of the Intrio's drawing tablets, which has a really small space for you to actually draw. I like it because it's lightweight, portable, and I could just go on the go and draw with it. That's what I liked about that, but it does take time to learn and practice with it, and if you don't practice with your tools, you're not going to get any better. So I'm really used to actually drawing by hand than on a computer, because when I used to draw on a computer way back in the day, I never used was a tablet. I used was a mouse. And some of my stuff looks really good. But it took me a long time to do it because I was like being perfectionist, and I would do all these effects using Photoshop, and I've used Photoshop since Photoshop 1. Yeah. And what I'm doing now is kind of like what I usually do when I draw by hand. I shade out the areas where, and usually I do it in lighter pencil tones to getting the rough ideas of where shapes are, like the eyes and stuff like that. Now I noticed that it doesn't do the same effects as I normally would, like trying to get the exact pencil marks that I normally would. It just doesn't always work right. I probably have to do is reset the pen pressure to get it to where it responds more to how I would. Yeah, you'll see a lot of mistakes on here, but remember, mistakes just means that you're learning, so just learn from your mistakes and try to get better at it. And I should probably do the same thing with this tablet. The reason why it seems like really hard for me to deal with this, even with the XP pen, is, like I said, I'm not really used to drawing with tablets. Even with this one feels much better than I've had before, but it gets, I still need some time to get used to. I kept on feeling that I need to do was smudge it by hand. This was the problem I've always felt, because although I like drawing very well, I changed the angle of my pencil marks by rotating the pencil in different ways, from the point to the side. I swirl my hand and stuff, but I can't really do that. The marks I normally would make, on a computer. It just doesn't really do the same way. It just doesn't register as that. Because it kept on doing that, like I said, it bleeping in and out. I wasn't sure if it was going to record that, but I guess so. Right now I'm using is the watercolor, the wet version. So, yeah, it's black, but I'm trying to do it lightly. So this is me just doing the shadowing, but I know I'm actually doing it way too damn dark. This is just more of me just playing around than anything else. But it's okay, but it's not my greatest thing. But you'll see that it will actually get a lot better real quick, even though it just doesn't look like it. Just remember, little mistakes that you first weren't intending to make, try to do is work out your mistakes of your artwork, because you might find out that these little subtle mistakes ends up making it better. Think of them as happy accidents. So what I really wanted to do was actually smudge it with my hand, so I can get the shading just right. But using the Medibang of their blur tool doesn't do a good job of it. But the smudging, again, doesn't do that great of a job. I probably should adjust the smudging to a wider, brush point so I can smudge better. Usually I had it at a certain point. It was meant to do smaller drawings instead of like a big drawing like this of a full-fledged character that takes up the whole page. That's just mainly the head and upper part of the upper torso. See, this is what I'm saying. When I painted this, the yellow that I used on my screen looks, on my XP, looked pretty much like what it sees here. But it was more like a fluorescent yellow than anything else. Like a super bright, fluorescent, glowing lemon yellow color. So I know you're not really supposed to do is the coloring, but if you really want to do a quick, dirty job of drawing, I suggest doing is have your first layer is your basic pencil drawing. Draw it dark enough to where you can see it, but not too bad. And then your second layer, just use it as your base colors of your shading for of your character, you know. But you don't have to have all your colors on one layer. I say do multiple layers, have them all translucent layers, and just work one on top of the other. So have all these little different fading effects and whatnot. Yes, the coloring is on top, is on a layer above, but I like to do is work in a certain way and then flip it to the other. You know, I'll move it to the to a lower level underneath the pencil. But typically I do something like this, and then I do is another layer over the pencil and ink it more appropriately. But with this one, I got a little kind of lazy with it, but I was still trying to figure out, okay, what can I do? How would this feel, you know? You know, because doing it by hand is one thing. I can easily do this real quick. You know, on one page, it's not that big of a deal for me. But doing it with digitally, it's a little more of a challenge. Because I don't really have like a huge screen. And the monitor itself is actually quite nice. I like the size. It's a good size. It's not that smaller or bigger than my actual laptop screen. It's hard to say. It's like kind of the same size, more or less. It seems like it's a little bit longer, but a little bit shorter. You know, to give that super widescreen feel. But it doesn't feel like it was stretched out or blurred. For me, when I'm looking at this recording, this one looks more like what I saw on my tablet. Of the colors. But when I looked on my laptop when I was actually drawing this, the colors did not look anything like this or what I picked on my tablet. They looked more orangish than a yellow, and it was like more darker orangish yellow color when I was just doing this yellow, because when I had it on the tablet it was more like a kind of a lemon yellow. For me, when I do drawings by hand, I like using it as a non-photo blue as the first layer, or whatever you're first drawing. Just draw that in a very light blue, because it doesn't work. Because I do have it right there, you can see in my color selector. I will later on have it in my palette of my preset colors for I'm going to have one for each of my different characters later on. Most of the time I just kind of work on, you know, in black and white when I do, you know, on computer. And some of the stuff that I've done before was mainly using a mouse, and I was just editing stuff that I drew by hand. This, I decided, let's give this a go and just do it all, you know. The black is added as more of a darkening and shading, so give it to more in-depth looks, you know. So you're wondering, like, how's this going to look good? I know it doesn't look that good right now, but it's a process. Just remember, everything is a process. I didn't finish this one, but you can kind of see where I was going with this. I was using the black as more like for outlining and also for kind of shading and defining of areas, and also shading the hair and giving more of different tones and depths onto the different layers of the hair, of color and translucency and just trying to make it look more I don't know, more better, more more interesting. It's more like it. But I really like how I did was the shoulder and the arm. The face I don't really like with this one, but the rest of the body actually, to me, turned out pretty well. Even though this is like a very simple line drawing that I just really quickly sketched out, just right on there, but it's actually turning out the way I saw, like just looking at it, in my mind's eye, as it were. I was just, let's just go with this. Now I put in some other hues that you will see later, but I'm still working on the black, and you can see that I'm putting in more defining layers of color. Well, mainly lightly putting black in, but I don't want it too dark where it's going to overpower of the yellow. I want to have some white in there for the shimmering of the hair, but I don't want the hair completely opaque. I want it to be somewhat translucent so you can literally see what's going on underneath the hair, such as the rest of the body. I don't want it to be like invisible hair. But I do keep the line work. And it's just me playing around, saying, hey, what can I do? Now, what am I doing with this right now? I don't know. Oh yeah, that's right. I did was because if you're wondering, I'm actually looking at a smaller screen of the actual video. So I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I did was got was my mapping pen, and usually with a mapping pen, with a real one, that's mainly to do is fine line work, and I like real mapping pens. And this one actually has not really the real feel of one, but the look of the line work is very similar about using a real map pen. And for a digital version of it, it's not that bad, and it does work well. Yes, like if you notice, I screwed up on the shoulder, the top of the shoulder, but I will make it work for me. I just will. And I'm just layering the line work more in depth. See? I like drawing more line work within hair. Some people will just do is like kind of the outline shape of the hair and very little detail within it. And usually you do more detail on more finer color hair, such as blondes and people with white hair or silvery hair or really light blue hair, or light greens, anything that's a light color. Usually you do that, and darker color hair, you just kind of like outline the shape and just solid color, and then your solid base color, and then you do is put in your darker tone on top, depending on which way you do it. Or you have is a toner on top, and then you have your dark areas you put on. And then, like, if you're drawing it by hand and doing this, you let it dry, and then you do is get your whiteout, and you put your whiteout on top, and you have it in the areas where it's going to be your highlights. That always works really well for me, and that's what I was planning on doing. But if things worked out, I wanted the yellow to be more, I didn't want it stripy like how I end up like that. I want it more of a solid. I should do is make the brush wider. I'll probably work on this again. I did save it, so I might work on it some more. And I'll probably show you what it is. I don't know. I might actually do is a live video, of this, of just me drawing. But if I do, most likely it's going to be kind of silent, kind of boring, but you'll just see me just drawing for the day, live streaming it. I don't know, but I'll let you guys know if I do that. But what I'm deciding here is it doesn't show like some of the stuff that was going on. For me, what has been happening was every so often you'll see me stopping. The thing was that it just got lagged up. I saw was the little circle of death, more or less. So up in the upper left corner, it kept on telling me that it's not responding, and then it responds again. So I don't know if all three of these items were just, I have like my screen recording was actually could be doing is acting up along with Medibang running alongside, plus having is the tablet. But I know my laptop in particular just doesn't really like the tablet too much. I mean, it does, but it kept on blinking in and out of the screen on my laptop. But hey, at least the screen recorder shows that it never really blinked out. That's kind of good, I guess. So right here, I'm just still doing a lot more detailing within the hair. I know it's kind of boring, but some people actually like this. And why I'm doing this line work underneath, or actually it's really drawn on top of all this where the hair is, well, I'm doing is the shading. And for this one, I decided, you know what, I'm going to go with hatching. With just a bunch of line works of different types of hatching, cross hatching, and curve hatching and curved cross hatching. You use the curved cross hatching is more on objects that you want to define that it's more circular, rounded. And when you do your hatching, you don't really need to have it straight lines. I suggest that if you do, make it thin lines and curve the lines around. I know it will look messy in the very beginning, but if you do it just right, you will layer it and make it thin as you're going into the lighter areas and darker lines towards more the darker area. But if you keep it all really thin, and then if you space it out a little by little, a little bit further away towards where you go to the lighter area, it'll look more realistic in shading. That's if you don't do is smudging or anything like that. Then you can do is cross hatch over it, and continue with the curvature, and to give it more depth and rounding. And you probably want to do is put some more depth in your shading. This one, yes, I need to do more shading, and I did put a line where the middle of her back is in yellow, but you'll see what I'm going to do. No, she's not nude, you pervs. If you want to, yeah, you can just do is put a nipple on her and say, hey, it's a side boob. Or I should clean up that, but I'll do is clean it up through other editing. Probably I'll do is color the background and stuff and just blur it out more or less, so it'll give it more of a perfect brownness. I'm still having trouble with this because I'm not really used to it, like I said before. But for a tablet, this has been the best one I've used so far, that I've actually enjoyed. Yeah, I've messed with the XP Pen before, and this was years and years ago. Mainly I was just playing around with their tablet, and I don't remember what program that they had running. Probably one, it was a drawing program. Maybe it was GIMP. This had been in maybe 2016 or maybe earlier at Anime Expo when I first actually was able to mess with it. I just wish I had the money for the tablet back then. Oh. But I didn't really have a stable place of living, you know. I still don't, but at least I feel better that I have the funds that I can actually get as a small enough tablet that I can take with me and hook it up onto my my laptop. So it's not too bad. I didn't want it too big and I didn't want it too small of the tablet. I know it seems like this is an ad for, you know, XP Pen. Nah. This is more like me just fucking around. Yeah, just messing around with the program. So, oh, you're cussing. Who cares? But like I said, with this, if you notice, I'm doing is some like of a curvature hatching with this, and just swirling it around, giving more depth of shading. And yeah, I just want it to be more believable or whatever. Just give it that oomph, as it were, you know. But in this one, I was thinking, let's keep it a little sketchy still. You know, not have it like, you know, perfect or super professional. I just want to be able to see how good of a picture I can get and how well it can be. I just don't want it to be, you know, boring, more or less. So, yeah. So, yeah, you'll see right here that I'm just doing a lot more of messing around with different types of cross-hatching and hatching and stuff. It looks just like, oh, it's scribbling. Yeah. You can do it like what I'm doing, like kind of a scribbling mess. But some of my pin drawings I do, you know, like quick little drawings or sketches, it's kind of in this manner where it looks really good when you're far away, not like super far away. Even if you're really super far away from it, it looks better. Just letting you know, the closer you are to the painting, the less you'll actually see it. The further you get back to it, you know, if you step back, you start to see the image of what it is. This is true with a lot of paintings. So let's take pointillism for example. If you get too close, you can see all the little different colors, solid color of dots. But when you go back, when you get back far enough, or if you go like about 6 feet about from the painting, and if you have bad eyesight, let's say kind of blurry, take off your glasses or your contacts and then look at it. It'll look really clear. I happen to be recording. Yes, I know it looks like I'm going crazy and talking to myself.
Well, I knew that long ago, so... No,
yeah, that's true. By the way, you happen to be on my video now.
Oh, okay. Yay!
Yeah. So, I don't know what to say with my video anyways. I'm just talking about what I recorded. And it's just a really bad drawing that I did.
Well, this grass is a little wet for me to sit on. I see you got your hair on.
Yeah, that's why I have this jacket, so I can sit down on it.
I think I'm going to go find your table. So
all right.
I'm going to read my book. So,
okay.
Yeah, this is the second book of James Patterson in as many weeks that I'm reading. And I'm blazing through these 2 books like you wouldn't believe.
So how is his books?
I read the ones Alex Cross books.
Okay. Yeah, I know of his Alex Cross books. I've just never had the time to read any of his stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm just not really too sure. Is he kind of of a writer that I actually really would like his writing? Because I've seen some of the adaptations of it. They're pretty good, but
yeah. It's really hard to say. I mean, because everybody's got
has their own taste, yeah,
and what they like to read, and what's So, and I like these particular books because they're quick, they're easy. I can get through them, without, And about the only other detective books that I could get into would be the Harry Bosch, which is by Michael Connolly, or I guess that's it. I think Connolly is his last name. So, so anyways. Yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna go find me a table, and
all right,
we'll probably see you inside the library.
Okay.
What time is it now?
I don't know, but my laptop went dim. It's 9:39.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, a couple hours.
Yeah. After this, I'm gonna pack up. I have to mail off a letter.
Oh, go over to the post office.
Go to the post office. I should have done it yesterday, but I forgot about it because I was so psyched of getting a little device that just came in the mail that I can fix, hook up my tablet to this.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's a tablet that has a monitor on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Huh. Interesting. Fascinating. Fascinating, as Mr. Spock would say.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we will see you then around.
Oh yeah. That one doctor that says, "Hi everybody, I'm Doctor blah blah blah." What is that doctor's name? Because I don't know.
I'm trying to think of what.
What kept on coming to my mind was Dr. Rick,
Okay.
but that doesn't sound right.
It doesn't sound familiar.
He was on The Simpsons. He goes, "Hi everybody."
Oh, okay.
He just walks in and says, "Hi everybody, I'm Dr. blah blah blah. I will be your brain surgeon today." Oh, looky! I don't even know what this thing does. We're gonna find out today.
It reminds me almost of
it's actually a bad Ricky Ricardo
what's that
impression.
1, 2, 3.
3.
Yeah, from not the Muppets, but the
well, it is a Muppet, but Sesame Street.
But not the Muppet Show, I meant. But
no, yeah.
Sesame Street. So
I did find out what the Muppet Show's original name was meant to be. Sex and Violence.
Really?
Yeah. And the original guy that was supposed to host it was actually a different Muppet altogether. And it was about not like a variety show as it turned out.
Right.
Think of it as it was a variety show, but it's all within one artist's mind.
Okay.
So one first Muppet, the first puppet he had was he's in a house that is completely crazy, filled with a whole mess of roommates. They're all nuts. And the original pilot, he's a writer. He was trying to do was write about love. So all these characters were giving him examples of love from their whacked out perspectives, and each one of them is completely insane.
Yeah.
So he's typing as they're telling, and it ends up with these other little skits. And one of the skits that a lot of studios hate it and television stations hate it happen to be is the Swedish Chef.
Oh, okay.
They wanted to do was cut that scene into smaller pieces and then scatter it through the show.
Yeah.
It was one segment was him going, "Dur, dur, 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 dur." Yeah, where the original segment was, Jim Henson's doing the voice. He's controlling the head. He doesn't tell this other guy who's controlling the hands, which is actually his real hands, what to do, more or less.
Yeah.
So this guy, Jim is saying all this shit, whatever, while the hands are doing the cooking or whatever, chopping and mallet and all this shit. And at the bottom is giant Chinese subtitles that have nothing to do with what is said, and even what is said has nothing to do with what he's actually doing. And then it turned into a variety show where that main character that was the writer, where he writes the show and he's also doing it, and he's usually like all the cast members, instead of preparing for the next skit that goes up, like when you see the background, and most of them are playing cards or doing other things except getting ready for the show. They're layabouts. It's like saying, this is what really is happening on the Tonight Show. No one's actually preparing. They're just fucking around in the background.
Hey, sweetie, you want after the show? You want to go?
Yeah, it didn't do out too well in the beginning, and then he got a job at Saturday Night Live. That's when they were declared the mucking Fuppets.
Oh, the mucking.
Yeah, because they really hated them, because a lot of the writers hated the fact that they had to write for them. Jim Henson had his own scripts originally, and the director of the show said, no, we have our own staff. They're going to write your shit. You are going to perform it. You can't write your own.
Wow.
Why? I have funnier crap. I know what to do and what my characters are. No. Our guys know funny. We know what the audience likes. Yeah, and that was actually some of the worst shit because it was dribble. If you ever watch it, it's like a retarded version of Muppets Tonight meets Sesame Street. Gone insane.
Okay, I gotta
okay.
sit down. So
yeah, so do I. That's why I go to the library. I find out new shit every so often.
You know.
Well, I don't know. I find out. And I end up finding out some crazy ass shit that I didn't know before. So, folks, I did with some basic coloring of the character's body, and then with the different peach colors. No, I did not save any of the color tones that I picked. I just randomly picked stuff, if you notice. And I also did the same thing with the different shades of red, and I was using that as different highlights, so to give like more depth of the color of the hair, so it's not just pure blonde. But I went with red, and also some other like a reddish orange. But since it is a watercolor look to it, yeah. And I decided, okay, not have her whole back paint in it, and just do it like this, so it's going to be more of a cropped top, where it's a dress and it's kind of exposing the back. But I'm going to do is where I stop painting of the flesh tone, the rest of it is going to be the color of, the dress. I figured that would actually look very well. Yeah. I really don't know what else to say, but I might actually just do a stop the audio recording and just let you just watch the rest of how it is. Because my laptop is going to die real soon. It gave me the warning, like, you're going to close out soon. So, if you like this, I suggest subscribe. I'm going to have more tutorials, and I'm going to do better at this, and I'll have some tutorials on how to make comic books. I do have some earlier stuff that you can watch. Might be helpful, but if you want other type of things, just let me know in the comments or message me through YouTube. That's kind of the easiest way, because I do get messages, but not all the time through that, because I don't really pay attention too much. I'm sorry. That's just how it is. I'm not really, into my social media, because most of it was like I started Twitter back in the day when no one even knew what the hell was Twitter. Had no idea. And I also was an earlier Facebook account when it was actually only for college students back in the day, and you had to be a member of a certain college. I just happened to hack into it and made myself an account. Yeah, I just did shit like that. I did kind of stuff like that. Plus, I also thought of like social media sites like that back when I was in college, back in '94. I was told, oh no one would want to put their information or online or socialize that way. Like, oh, the people will. If you build it, they will come. And it really is true, though. Anything, inventive, it will. Alright, I'm going to stop right now of the audio recording because, like I said, it's dying. Yeah, if you like it, subscribe. Give me suggestions of what else you want to know. I'm going to do some videos on, like, more XP pen drawing tutorials and stuff. We'll do is drawings on the hardest things to draw: the human eye, the ears, and basically every aspect of the face. Because for a lot of people, faces are very difficult, especially eyes and ears. And then you've got other things that are really hard for a lot of people to draw is the hands and feet. I will show you how to draw very simply and very fast, how to get your basic shape, and also how much very, very detail on, of fingers and hands and toes, and even the markings on your hands. Like, if you really want to draw hands, I will have links up later, and I will make these videos. So, ta-ta.